Maybe we lost sort of connection with the bigger institutions, and I think we need to sort of gather together, help each other, and one of the ways you have to do that is you have to have a space to meet each other.
The hall had been used for 100-odd years for education, celebrations and all that.
It has historically had users of all sorts over the years.
It was just a great facility to have literally on your doorstep.
Exeter Street Hall in Brighton is in harmony with the community.
We like to sing in the hall, as it's a community hall.
The hall is well used by all sorts of organisations, including the Stay and Play group. But for how much longer?
I was walking past this hall a few years ago and I saw a sign that said it was for sale, and I thought that can't happen.
In 2011 the local church, St Luke's, put the hall up for sale, and the local residents were really shocked.
We thought if we showed enough support for this to maintain as a community building, the council wouldn't allow it to be turned into flats. So that was our first idea, right, this big idea, let's go around with a board and get as many names as we can.
Paul was distributing these bits of paper saying, you know, what can we do about the hall not being sold off for development? How can we retain it? And so, like other people, I signed it, and then the whole thing stutteringly got going.
Word had sort of got round, I think my wife told me about it, about the fact that the hall was going to be sold, and it was just a public meeting about that. So I came along to that, and there must have been 150 people here. I mean, it was quite surprising how many people were here.
That it was so full, you know, loads and loads of people, some of whom I'd never seen before, and we all felt the same about each other, I think, realising that, you know, we were all neighbours but hadn't really met before, and just that fact made me feel we can't let this space go.
So then when we came back together after a few weeks of doing this, I realised that it wasn't enough, and I suggested to the group, did they feel that there was enough support to buy the building?
It wasn't going to be paid for by the council or the government or anybody else.
I actually said, I think you're all bonkers. And then half an hour later I put up my hand and said, OK, I'll be the treasurer. So that's how I got formally involved, because I suppose the people there, although the ideas were scattered, they impressed me with their passion. There was passion there, there was enthusiasm, commitment, and hey, you can work with that.
You know, due to the diligence of some of those involved, you know, we did find out what it was necessary to do.
We realised that we have to have an organisation to do this. And we researched organisations, the types of organisations, and we came up with the Industrial and Providence Society, which is an old type of organisation, but it allows you to sell shares and to hold an asset.
It involved having a stall at the Seven Dials every weekend, where we had a lot of information about what we were doing, and we would quite literally stop people in the street.
A small number of people did really a lot of work. I mean, it was, you know, it took massive amount of effort from certain people.
We went to the local schools, got the kids involved, they did sponsored runs.
I did manage to get people to step forward, and I think that was part to do with the name of our company, which was the Hall, Get Involved.
One of the things that always was asked of us when we were campaigning to raise the money was actually we were buying a liability. The hall had a very leaky roof, and in fact it needed a lot of money spending on it. So, you know, it was always asked of us, what will you do? How will you raise the money to fix the roof?
The people here have done a fantastic job to save this hall from demolition. Now they just need that extra helping hand to carry out these essential repairs. Exeter Street Hall has been at the heart of the community for 130 years. Unfortunately, it's got a 130-year-old roof that really needs replacing.
There was a People's Millions campaign, which is a campaign run by the National Lottery, and there was a number of charities that were in the area, I think 6, that were eligible to win this £50,000. I think 4 out of 6 could potentially win it. And the nature of it was a televised campaign followed by a phone vote. The idea is on the day, ITV, as it would broadcast, would show our campaign video and then show a number at the end saying, vote here if you want to vote for Exeter Street Hall. And we realised that we came up with a system where we knocked on a ton of doors, dropped leaflets, got on the radio, did everything just to let people know about our campaign.
So why help this project to achieve its goal? The answer is loud and clear. Well, it's a lovely crisp day here in Sussex, and I've got a pretty fantastic job to do because I've got a very large cheque which I'm going to give to some very lucky people.
I was just in the hall and a few of the other volunteers were there and they said, yes, here we are, here's the cheque for £50,000.
Let me just unveil this, because this might just help you a bit. Here you go. That is £50,000 from the People's Millions to help you mend the roof here.
We can just about, I think at the end here, see the main roof, just about start to see the extent of the work here. So this is the front of the building, and then everything at the front has been replaced. At the back of our minds we wondered if we'd ever get the money to do it, but as soon as we got the grant and we got a good company in to help us, yeah, we got it done, and I think it's now we can move on because the roof is now secure and it's not leaking, and the woodwork's been replaced. So it's structurally, I should think it's going to be safe for another 50 years at least. So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Although we had that huge sum that we were fortunate to get to repair the roof, there's still a lot more that needs doing. So everything that we do on the events team, the repair and the renovation of the hall. We've had a comedy night, we've had quizzes, we've had food markets, Greek night.
It's really our job now to make sure, as a non-profit, to really reach the widest possible set of people.
It's really critical that we keep on engaging with people and saying, you know, this is what we've achieved, but what do you want to see? Because it's your hall.
The hall is a reflection of the way people need to have a place to meet. They're realising more the importance of neighbourhood, of community.
I think it was a guy called Ian Chambers, who's been incredibly involved in the campaign, who approached me. He wrote the most extraordinary letter, which I've kept because it was just the most moving testament to the importance of community coming together around the idea of keeping the hall for the community. And he wrote so beautifully about how all of us need a roof over our heads, and when it's a community roof, that's something extra special because it's something that we can all be part of and it protects all of us. And I was just so moved by that letter. I met with him, I met other campaigners, and have just been so incredibly impressed by the real commitment of people to care for their community and to see this hall that has such an amazing history in the locality being preserved, being kept special for the community for the future as well.
I think I would definitely encourage communities to own their own community spaces because of the activity that's created around that. So you create connections, create friendships, you create small social groups, you create a bigger social group. So if there's ever a feeling that something's lacking in your community, one way to do it is find a space and work within that space.
It's my private view, my personal view, that we do need to actually get out of our houses and come together sometimes in conversation or dancing or eating, but just this is our life, and sharing it with other people who live nearby is a lovely thing to do.
As businesses and as individuals, you can make a contribution to community projects and thus communal happiness. Go looking for them. Listen to their stories with patience and humility. If you feel you can't help, don't. But do ask yourself, do you know somebody who can? Above all, step forward, do something. And I'd just like to add one last cheeky plug. If you want to experience Exeter Street Hall and its lovely community in action, go to the website exeterstreethall.org and book tickets for our French soiree this Saturday. I'm cooking the food and we've got a licensed bar. Thanks very much.